Ready to be outdriven. I'm working my way to the top to doing this shit for a living. If you want that money, be double out. And if you want that trophy, take double out. And if you want to be a winner, be double out. And if you want to be a champ, take double out. Be double out. Take double out. Be double out.
What's up, everybody? We are back at the BE00TAKE00 show. I am your co-host, PJ North, along with the one and only young Tyler Bohannon. Tebow, what's good, baby?
Just doing testing today. I get to do this from the racetrack. Kind of cool.
Yeah, man. We're in the tower. We are live from US 60. Taking it all in. They're getting some test hits. And before we jump into it, if you're watching live on YouTube, please let us know in the chat. Hit the comments. Let us know what your thoughts are on what we're talking about. Hit that like and subscribe button as well. That always helps us out. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, don't forget to leave us a review. Share with your friends. Tag us. Let everybody know that you're watching the BE00TAKE00 show with PJ North and Tyler Bohannon, man. What a time. We've made it 12 episodes, and we got a lot to talk about today. Let's kick it off with a little US 60. Obviously, you guys.
Yeah, we kicked it off. Have you done any racing? You haven't raced, right?
When? This weekend?
Like in the last week or two?
Oh,
yeah.
Nah, dude. WrestleMania was this past weekend.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Big weekend. We watched it.
You wasn't catching me leaving. You wasn't catching me leave the crib, dog. It was WrestleMania Saturday.
What night did we watch it?
I think they sent it to me Saturday. Yeah, they sent a picture to me Saturday.
Yeah, but so wait, I do have a question then. So there's no way you can't hear that. It's wild.
No, you're good.
Cody Rhodes and John Cena fought?
They did. They fought Sunday. It was
who won? I didn't get to watch it. That was the only thing I cared about.
John Cena won. It was very interesting. If you're most people said the crowd sucked if they watched it on if they were watching on whatever, like if they were watching on Peacock, which I was too, right? But I was like, okay, I've been to Mania the last 3 years, so like I kind of know. And I was telling my friends, I was like, damn, dude, the crowd is hot garbage.
I noticed that on Saturday night. It just didn't seem like.
But it turned out to be.
I haven't watched.
No, but it turned out to be the people.
Years.
Yeah, fair. It turned out to be that the production was just like super quiet, and they didn't have it wasn't super loud. So, but like my friends that were there, obviously I have a huge group of friends that go every year, and they said it was absolutely ape shit. So they said it was like deafening in the stadium, and I was like, dude, I'm telling you, you can't hear us. You could hear a pin drop on the TV. It wasn't very good. Yeah, it was weird, but
well,
it was
like I said, I know this. Well, we're off. See, I already took us off to another side of the world, but like when I watched it 20 years ago, like you could tell it was a fucking riot. Okay, from TV. They didn't have it. The production was a little bit different from that perspective, but still enjoyable. It's WrestleMania, so like I'm gonna love it regardless, because it's WrestleMania. So for me, like it is what it is. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. So the internet sucks. I'll talk about it Thursday on my podcast. And yeah, man. What about you guys? I know you kicked it off at US 60 this week, obviously. First race. There's been shit going on all over the place here. We had, so let's see, a week ago, we did the bikes.
Yep.
And then, so the day before, last Monday, I had Pro Mods testing. Thursday, we had our first open test and tune.
Yeah.
We had 50 something like race cars, slick tire cars.
Yeah.
And then we do a 300 per car. One lane is radial prep.
Oh, fun.
We had 15 of those.
Wow.
So we had like 70 cars out here on a Thursday night testing, and we learned some things. But
very cool.
Everything's been good. I tell you, and I don't know. I don't even mind talking about it. But you have like racetracks. I've never had the sun, the way the sun can come off the beams and stuff and bend them and shit.
Yeah.
And you have to work around that.
Yeah.
All year last year, never had a problem. And during that bike race, I'm watching them stage, and I'm like, I don't know these guys, but something's not up, right? Sure. So we stopped in the middle of Friday, and we're out there. I'm checking rollout, and I'm like, at some point, I'm just out in left field, and they're like, it's got to be the sun. And I said, like, I've never had an issue with the sun before. Why am I having it now?
Right.
But anyways, so found a solution for that. And
did y'all gold bond or sand? What'd y'all do?
I did gold dust, but also what I'm doing now I actually stuck a 2x4 out basically against the groove, of like a foot outside of the groove.
Yeah.
And that was what Rusty from AccuTime told me to do. And it makes sense because if you've got it, if it goes straight across and then, it's picking up something down here.
Sure.
If you stick a 2x4 there, it basically forces it up.
Yeah.
So instead of having a 2x4 out in the middle of the racetrack, I have basically took electrical tape and taped the bottom half of that opening.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it can't look down. It can't move down.
Yep. So today I got, our super comp car here. Megan's car's testing. My dad's here with my sister's car. And, we did a little bit of that test. I used that on Thursday.
Yeah.
And everything, been good. And just kind of, I didn't want to have, I've been trying to find ways to work around sticking something out, close to the lane.
Yeah, I Gary, I definitely wouldn't like that either. Like sometimes, the tracks you go to, they got the cones out there. I'm like, damn, I feel like I am so close to that cone.
Right. Like I've watched it get run over 100 times.
Or, I got a hard enough time trying to hit the tree. Now you're going to put something out there, an obstacle for me? Shit.
What we do at St. Louis is we put signs down when we spray so you don't get the shiny glue.
Right.
But like I'm trying to be efficient,
Sure,
I don't want to have to put these signs down every time. And then when we radio prep, I've got to spray out anyways.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This seems to be a good way to do it.
That makes sense. I know you guys we talked a little bit about this offline, but I wanted to bring it up here. The testing, you hear that on Dale Jr.'s thing a lot. We were talking about how they don't have practice anymore, right? And they can't test. Teams can't test. I'm interested to know, you guys are out there testing. I always think that's so crazy because the thought of testing makes me just want to punch air. I hate it.
Well,
but I probably should do it though, right? In my mind, I'm like, I should probably go out there and make some better hits. You know what I mean?
To me, from a driver aspect, you learn nothing. To me. But if you've got 4 or 5 things that you've been wanting to try, right? So Labuse is here. He's headed to Charlotte tomorrow.
Right.
And this is the perks of my job, I guess, right?
Sure.
We got here at 11 o'clock and we can test until it's dark, and then I can turn the lights on and we can keep on trucking.
Yeah.
But he's made 13 runs. You're going to give a guy who's already capable of winning the race. We made some changes from Belrose to here.
Yeah.
He won in Belrose. We changed rear gears, shifter solenoids, from air to electric. He's changed air bleeds and shift timers and just all kinds of shit, right?
Yeah, just trying to make it slightly better than it was. I get it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, that's just, you're going to give a guy that, once, like I said, he won the last race he went to. He's capable of winning this race, and he just made 15 runs on Tuesday, making his car better.
Yeah, y'all might all be in trouble out there.
And he could go lose first round, but you give a guy just the race car. I think testing as far as your program is insane what it can do. And I have the opportunity to do a lot of it, and I don't because of just time.
Sure.
But, I do think there's definitely something there. If you have those things you want to try, I do think it's useless if you don't know why you're going. You got to have.
I think you got to have a game plan, right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we'll talk about that too at the end. A goal too, as well as we talk a little bit about it. Today, man, we got a couple things to talk about. Obviously, some headlines, combo of the week, and a topic at the end. So let's get into it. The headlines: NHRA was in Vegas for the double divisional. They had it. Obviously, they've been in Vegas, I feel like, forever. But it was the fling, then it was the national, then it was the double divisional. Capped off really by another Justin Lamb win. It doesn't stop.
Yeah, he run it up, or he won run it up. There was 2 races.
Yeah, exactly.
He did not do good the first one. That's right, 4th round or something. Oh, he did do good, but
yeah,
I was just looking at points, and I was thinking of his points. He's got 2 wins. That's what it is.
Yeah,
2 wins.
It's just
2 runner-ups.
Do you really? I just don't know that I could see if I'm picking somebody, I'm like, you know what, man? Chances are, if I was a betting man, I'd just almost I got to pick Justin here. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And that's what I talk about, with me. Just me personally, I've got 3 races. He's got 5.
Yeah.
In order for me to tie him where he's currently at, I've got to win one and go to another quarterfinal. So, what I've already done, I got to do it again.
Yeah.
And you're just asking a lot, I think, for somebody that's going race by race with it.
No, 1,000%. I think that's what makes the difference. Is obviously and it goes into a little bit of that preparation thing, like we just talked about with testing. Is he probably tests a lot more than people think, and he also, like I said, as a teacher with This Is Bracket Racing Elite, he is of the elite. He is the top tier of the elite, right? Yeah.
And 2 things is with those guys I figured out, he knows more about the opponent, and these guys don't change game plans, right? In these classes. So he races the same 50 guys all year long.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good hitting average, I suppose.
Right.
That makes
sense. You pretty much
sense.
know what's coming, and he changes what he's doing. Like, and you see Lang and some of those other guys like getting
very
to slip
similar
up.
Thing.
Like,
yeah. That makes sense. I didn't really think about that. A few other winners. Justin Hutto got it done in stock. I saw Kevin Connor won in comp. What else we got? Oh, Chris Whitfield. He's coming back around too, swinging for the fences.
And then, I mean, we were kind of just bullshitting about points before we started.
Yep.
Like, if you look at every class but super stock, there's, like everybody's got 7 races.
Yeah.
Right? 6 to 7 races. And it takes 420, 430, to lead it. To my knowledge, Whitfield is the highest, like, 4-race person in all the classes.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, he's 266 with 4.
Sure.
So I feel like, he's off to a really good start. He's going to get, I mean, if he doesn't win another round,
still ends up with 500 plus, right?
Well, even losing first round everywhere he goes and not better in the damn thing, he's going to have 480. And that's pretty salty with 4 first rounders. So
that's pretty good.
I
don't feel so bad then about my 2 first rounders.
What is perfect is 420.
Yeah.
For 4 races. So I mean, he's only missing.
That's not. Is that 105? Yeah, 420. Mm-hmm. Okay, gotcha.
He's only missing 4.5 rounds from perfect.
Pretty crazy how that. Some other winners for the weekend there. Taylor Chmosky in the comp Cobalt. Hunter Pierdola. I saw he got it done against Mike Cotton. Jared Jordan in a Mopar got it done in stock. And Steve Williams beat Chris Whitfield. So Chris runnered up and won. No big deal. We'll get into points and we'll talk a little bit about that here. Greg Hare over Phil Unruh. Super Gas. Casey Plazer. I saw him win in Super Street. Shout out to Casey. Yeah, man. Very interesting. Ed Olpen won again in Top Sportsman. I feel like that guy's name's mentioned all the time in Top Sportsman stuff. So a lot of damage being done out there on the West Coast. And we'll roll into talking about the world points here with that. Obviously, we're getting ready to start Division 3, which we'll talk about shortly, but Division 7 and Division 2 obviously get that jump start, right? Because those are the first races of the year. But Division 7 guys, it always seems like they're hanging around, like just regardless of like getting a head start. Like seems like they kind of hang around at the end of the year, a few of them too. But looking at the top in the world, what are your thoughts? I know we talked about it a little bit offline. What are your thoughts? And we'll start with Super Stock. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I don't know. Speaking of this, the Guilford guy that won Super Stock, one of the races.
Yeah.
I guess he's been out of it for like 35 years or 30 years or some shit.
My
decided
guy.
to come back. But my man's third in the world, got a decent total for 6 races.
Yeah.
Like something to go off of. Anyways, Lamb and McClanahan are the 2 right now that stand out.
Yeah.
I know they're probably not racing for a couple of months.
Sure.
It wouldn't surprise, like the D3 guys aren't like they're going to run 4 races and then these guys are going to have the Western swing. So like the D3 guys have got to match this in my opinion.
You got to put up 400 or 3 something close, right? You got to put up 3 something to be close.
Yeah. If you have 5 races, you need, somebody better have 400 to have a chance at this, I think.
Well, I've got 60, so I'd like to start there.
You're on your way. And that's the thing, right? Like even when they fill their claims, we start better and people can move 60 or 70%.
Yeah.
But it's just, to me, the first 4 or 5 matter. And I think that you cannot go to 5
early.
races.
That always helps. Yeah. I mean, you can't bat 1,000 if you don't get the first hit, right? You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
I think McClanahan and Lamb and all those guys. I think Kowalski too. I think his numbers he's got a lot of claims already though. But like
he's got 7, but he's got 1 more clean divisional.
Yeah.
So I mean, he could be sitting at 8 races with 6 to go and have 530. That's good.
Yeah.
You're sitting on 530 when you start better, and that's solid. So I mean,
so his next race will probably be the Western Swing, which is only Sonoma and Seattle now.
Yeah, I don't know. Does Acton, Montana, or something run before that?
Oh, from a divisional perspective, that's a far way away.
That
place, dude.
That's where that's where the snake bites, And like I've had good national scores and I've had bad national scores, and still, get up there because you claim 2 more divisionals. Clue who it is? Not a clue.
She runnered up. I'm looking at it here. She runnered up the first race against Jared Jordan. She's from Brentwood, California, in a O stock, a 6-cylinder T-Bird.
Well, it's way cool.
What a wild combo, man!
Yeah.
And she's kind of fast too. So LMNO, I mean L is 1270.
It's like 1315 or 1295.
No, it's got to be more than that because she went 1273. So it feels, and they get Vegas, you get another 15, right?
Oh, so something like that.
Yeah, so it's pretty fast. But yeah, 6-cylinder T-Bird is what it says here. With the runner-up, man, pretty cool. That's a cool combination I didn't expect to see, and she's done pretty good so far. So a runner-up, and then what did she have? I think a couple other
there's a
points and stuff. I think, so
it was just she was definitely the highest person with 5 races. CW Hofer's kind of right there with Kowalski.
Yeah,
like a big divisional. Would be a standout right now.
Yep.
But overall,
Hofer's a Division 6 guy too, right? CW is a Division
6 or 7. I did a deal with him on Elite, and the dude's intelligent.
Yeah,
like,
he gets it.
Insanely smart.
Yeah, and you're right about the Montana thing or the what is that place called? Yellowstone Dragway where they go?
That's it. Acton,
Yellowstone. Yeah, so that race is really like, yes, it's low number of cars, but man, you could throw up. It's a double. You could throw up a lot of points. Oh, it's a 302 T-Bird. Thank you. That was Ellis, I think. Yeah, Ellis Booth. Thank you. It's a 302. Okay, stupid Fords.
It's basically a 6-cylinder.
Yeah. So yeah, stock eliminator looks interesting. Super comp. I know we talked about this. Cooper Chun though, the kid goes out there, does damage at the Million, does damage at the National, does damage.
Had a good week.
Had a pretty good run in Vegas, man. It's what I'd give to be 21 again out there doing it. His numbers look pretty good right now.
Hit 3 races at 227. That's pretty good.
I think the only person he's above is Johnny Labouse's, right? 3 races or 4 races.
Yeah, John's got 4, and he's sitting with him, so he's 3 rounds ahead of him. However you want to put it.
Yeah.
There's 7 races and 420 points seems to be about the average across everything right now. Gabe is leading with 420 and 7. I still, Whitfield's 3 races behind and only 60 points. So he's if you do, here's the way I look at it.
Doing damage in the 2 divisionals there, obviously a win and a runner-up.
So if you give him 2 more divisionals and a national to match him, he's 30 points ahead. So the way I look at
even first round losses,
so if he matches Gabe in races, he's 3 rounds ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I think Super Comp is obviously one of those ones where you gotta. Sometimes there's a lot of crazy numbers, but also like
there's never usually in October, like 600 to 590, 600. There's is in the mix, and then still somebody gains 5 or 6 rounds to make a traditional.
Someone always puts on a show like the Las Vegas National. It's always like, oh, I got to go out here and win. Okay.
Yeah, it's a beatdown until then.
Yeah, pretty wild to think about that for Super Comp. Super Gas. Who's in the lead in Super Gas right
Kowalski
now? Kowalski again, right? Yeah. So
I did look. He hasn't lost first round yet this year, and that's a game changer. It looked like his worst score in Superstock was a 50. Now that makes it harder to better sometime to do so, but that's something to say when you are seeing third round in 2 cars consistently.
Yeah,
he's got 452 with 7, so he's technically leader in the clubhouse across, the 4 main classes. Yeah.
Yeah, good for Evan.
Nobody else is like over the top.
Super Gas is a wild one. We talked about that. Yeah, Ken Mostowich.
It's kind of up and down.
Yeah,
he's got 3 races in 238, so he's got more points than Cooper does at 3 races.
Yeah,
that kind of tells you what he's looking at. I did look at Top Sportsman, Top Director too. Nothing
crazy.
Kind of across the board, kind of same amount of deals. Jeff Taylor and Comp. JT
I think
looks
the
strong.
Comp thing is, I'm interested to see how Comp pans out because I think Division 7 is super popular in Comp, right? And I think Division 4 obviously is a big one with Brogdon's deal and the Roof Tech stuff. But Division 3, man, for Comp, really, they got some hammers there too. So I'm interested to see the first divisional this weekend and see what happens at Indy in Comp Eliminator. Maybe we'll see some exciting fireworks there. And Jeff Taylor's got how many claims so far?
4. He's got 252 with 4.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Josh, I see your question there. So Superstock GT. Superstock GT is basically I can take.
Oh, so hold on. Let me preference the question. Josh Martin, thank for the listeners for if you're not watching. That's okay if you're not watching live. Josh Martin asked, "What is the difference between Superstock GT and Factory GT?" All right, go ahead now, Tyler. He's got to trigger the tree first.
Yeah, sorry, I'm arming the tree for this. So factory. Let's just start with this. So Factory GT, I can use any factory race motor. It has to be factory race produced, like a Copo motor. For instance, like a Copo is pretty much it. God, he hits the tree really good. Factory GT, he's 006, 611, 5, or 6 dead 5, what we were shooting for right there.
I love to hear it. Sorry. All right, back to Josh's question.
Yeah. So Factory GT, it has to be a factory race motor. So like Ford can use the Cobra Jet motors. Chevy can use the Copo motors. Yeah, and then use the drag pack deal. Superstock GT, I can take Oldsmobile Achieva and put any General Motors produced engine. I can put a 305 Chevrolet. I can put a 283 out of a 66 Chevy 2 or your Chevelle in an Olds Achieva and run Superstock GT.
Yep. Yeah, so it's an interesting thing. And Josh, we talked a lot about that last week. I don't know if you listened to the pod, but episode 11, we kind of go into detail about the excitement around that class and how we're excited about those new combos, especially Tyler, one of the early adapters. That's okay. He'll be back. He's got to work on some ticket printing. Billy Carroll, Brogdon's straight 6 in that wagon. If you guys haven't seen Roger Brogdon's comp wagon, it's a pretty wild ride. Colt Carpenter, another question here in the chat. Stupid question. Can you use any crate motor? So crate motor is only an IHRA class. NHRA never adapted that. And it was the way that they did it was just like weight cubic inch crate motor from Jegs or one of those type of places, right? Those companies that were doing it. But I don't think they never adopted that in NHRA because NHRA has been kind of stout from a class perspective forever. All right.
Are you talking about crate motor?
We were talking about crate motor. I've been in there. Man, I was, IHRA was so wild. They had a GT class in stock.
For stock, yeah. And you had a 454 Chevrolet in an 88 Oldsmobile Cutlass, and we ran GTB, stock GTB.
So fast. I was the fastest stock GTB car in the country. We got a lot of information going on here in the chat today.
They do.
Yeah, man. Brogdon has a wagon for sale, and Wes Collins chimes in. Brogdon's got a road. I'm here to tell you, I would love to get Roger Brogdon on here to talk about his career arc and how it landed on the Roof Tech stuff, but just like his career arc has been pretty crazy. We gotta mark that down. We'll talk to that. And Logan, to your point, crate motor in D2 National Opens. The National Open thing is D2's like. Obviously, we have them in D3, but we don't do a points series like they do in D2. They were trying to expand to those smaller tracks. They had a lot of those. A lot of the stuff from IHRA is my understanding. When I used to talk to Danny Waters about it, and it was a pretty cool deal. They had one here at Music City. It's a pretty. I always think that's cool. Give people more options to race NHRA and IHRA class stuff at different places. I'm all for it.
It definitely works better in the Carolinas. That's where a lot of your old IHRA guys are hanging around. We actually talked on the phone with the division director about this last week. They had one recently, and it works better in the Carolinas. There's a lot of IHRA guys left over, looking for something.
It also works at the combos that we do. A lot of the combo stuff they do. They allow some of that stuff as well. So, all right, last headline. This is a big one. Obviously, if you're not super in tune to, I'm not super in tune to the anything outside of like what we do, but Fletcher Cox, former NFL Defensive Player of the Year and highest paid defensive end at one point for the Philadelphia Eagles, car owner, big radial guy. He's now driving a race car.
Yeah, so
pretty cool.
I was going to ask you about that, and I didn't. Which car is he driving?
He's in a 69 blown.
Okay, the
deal.
black one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wild.
Because he's got like 3 of them now.
Yeah, exactly.
3 or 4 of them. I'm assuming he's still got the other guy that drives for him.
Yeah, so he's still doing all. I think all those people are still racing, is my understanding. I didn't read the article I read the kind of the highlights of it. But I think it's just a great thing to see guys from other sports in our sport per se, right? And Fletcher's been like a huge proponent of like the radial versus the world stuff, and I think he's got like a 275. Like he's into that thing, right? Mm-hmm. The heads up stuff. It's a nitrous car. Okay. I said blown. I was just making that up. But yeah. So Fletcher Cox, man, is racing now, and I think that's really cool. And what I wanted to talk about just briefly is think of all the other athletes that have drove in drag racing. And
I can only name 2, and I'm sure I know. Well,
sure.
I mean, you can count Kurt Busch. He ran pro stock.
Yeah.
And then Larry Nance and Tom Hammond's running pro stock.
Exactly. I went to a race. I went to a race at what used to be done. No, where did they used to have the foot brake race in the fall? Like in the late fall, like Thanksgiving weekend, that Beard and them used to put on.
Piedmont?
Piedmont. Yeah, I went to Piedmont, and one of the Carolina Panthers, this giant dude, kind of looked like Dollar General Greg Olson. And he had like a 62, like he had like a bubble top type car, like one of those like Impalas or Malibus type things.
Yep.
And he was bottom bobbing, but he had like a giant cardboard to block. I'm not kidding you. And then he'd throw it down. It was the wildest thing I ever saw. It was a foot brake race, dude. And I don't know if he still races, but he was a football player for the Panthers. I thought that was cool. And I always think like it's interesting because you see athletes at now NHRA definitely bringing in more people to the influencers and all this stuff and bringing them around. I would love to see what it would take to get more of those guys involved if they're really super interested. Alvin Kamara is a huge NASCAR guy. Like, how do we get him in?
Sorry, I've been on this all week, and I can't believe I didn't mention this while you're talking about this. Did you watch Dale Jr.'s reaction to making his first like 8th mile pull?
Oh, in the Dale track?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he loved it.
That's we got to get him in one, man. We should hit him up every day. Hey, what do you want to drive? Tyler's got all of these. What would you like to drive? You want to do a wheel stand? We can make that happen.
Carroll just put it in the chat too.
That's exactly it. Yeah, it was a great, and that's the thing is like, that's cool for everybody. That's not just cool for us. That's cool for everybody to watch that and to see it. That whole segment was everything that they did was really cool. He drove around Cletus to show him the line
and like
he's running the ARCA race this weekend at Talladega. So that's pretty interesting.
Cool. My sister's going to Talladega.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I think that. Like I said, the more that we can get eyes on the sport, and I think guys like Fletcher Cox, who's such a big deal. It wasn't like he's like played in the NFL. He's the highest paid defensive player at one point, right? Over 100. He was like the first defensive player to get 100 million plus. So like, good for him to now get to see him go down the racetrack. I know Crossno posted it originally. That's where I saw it. I know Crossno and those guys are super close. So interested to see how he does, man. Hopefully he'll make some laps and bring some of his other NFL friends into the sport, and we'll see some more of that. But
I'm glad Billy said that because like his excitement, like it caught me off guard.
Yeah.
When Dale did that, I'm like, okay, this like
he wants
I think people see that, you know?
Yeah, let's get him in there.
Like that was cool for drag racing when Dale Jr. was like, that was fucking fun, like that's good for drag.
It's also such a cool car because it's an all-wheel drive truck. It's got like what does it have, a twin turbo on it or something? Yeah,
it's a twin turbo. LS deal.
Yeah, sick.
And they beat the hell out of it. But he was like, and then they show his graph, and he lets out the gas.
Yeah, because
like he's on the run. Yeah, and he's like, dude, this thing's hauling ass.
Oh,
it was cool.
Shit. That is pretty badass. 1320 Video, man, has really done a lot for the sport, right? They birthed Cletus and a few others off of 1320 Video. So they've really done some work. It's cool to see Dale Jr. in it, though.
I was listening to the podcast with it. He worked for 1320, I guess, to start.
Cletus?
So I know
that's how he started there. He was doing like,
stuff,
he reached out to that guy and was like, hey, because he was going to school in Florida, and he's like, hey, is there anything I can do? The guy's like, yeah, you can help me edit videos or whatever. And he said he first started and he was doing it for free. And then he made the Cletus thing talking about a car in a parking lot, and then the rest is obviously history. He's done a great job for the sport.
Yeah,
sure. All right. Combo of the week, man. What do you got for me this week?
See? Look, I got caught up in points. I got to look at my list here again. I really want – I don't think – did we already talk about Jeff Taylor's combo for his dragster combo?
No. What's he driving?
Okay, that's a good one to go off of since I like his points total the best. So that's B dragster. Oh, is it a B dragster automatic? I'm going to say that. We'll talk about B dragster automatic because I think that's what he's running.
Yeah, I can't. It's not – doesn't show me here.
Okay, it's like – so basically in simple terms, it's a pro stock It's a pro stock motor with an automatic behind it and a dragster.
Oh, sick.
But they're building like 470, 480
it's not quite
inch
500
motors.
cubic inch.
Yeah,
right? Okay.
like there's some guys. Like if you build a true 500 inch motor, it's like 1,995 pounds, and that's what Unruh did with a brand new Racetrack.
Yeah.
And that's what Will Carroll was doing with his undercover.
Dude, that is so sick.
Yeah, like you can take my Supercomp car and put a 500 inch pro stock motor in it, be competitive, and be dragster automatic.
Okay, so it is B dragster automatic. Billy Carroll, man, how do we make that happen? We gotta get Team Edelbrock, and we gotta build us a B dragster altered, right? Automatic, sorry, not altered. B dragster automatic. We gotta make that happen, man. We'll see. It's a pretty cool combo, man. Jeff also can just drive the wheels off anything. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to the folks joining us: Robbie Sesko, Alan Wilson, Walt. Thanks for joining us as well. We've got a few folks. Dylan Champion, shout out to Two Lane Talk. I was on the podcast last week chatting with Dylan. He let me talk for a little while, so thank you for having me on the show.
They asked me to send you some stories, and I didn't get them. I don't think I got them all to them in time.
That's okay.
I saved you.
You said that's probably better. Yeah, they didn't ask me anything crazy. So, all right, last topic here for the day, something I really wanted to talk about. Obviously, it's Division III opening divisional this weekend at Indy. I guess it's Lucas Oil. What is it now? Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park or something? I forget the name of it. But two things. One, they've added another race. They announced that today. If anybody didn't know, they have announced the second divisional there is the weekend that we're in Virginia. So I told Brian, man, hey, just in case I do go off and win, and I'm winning points or something, I might have to skip Virginia too while I'm at it. But no, it's Indy starts this weekend. And I wanted to talk about the first race approach of the year. Obviously, our racing's a little different. We've already been racing. Not the point. But assuming that this was your first race of the year, you're an NHRA guy or an NHRA girl, and like this is what you do, I wanted to just talk about the approach and how do we prepare. I think me and you prepare probably a little differently. Obviously, we have different racing programs and all that stuff. But so first off, how do you prepare personally for your first race of the year, considering it your first NHRA race of the year, and say you're going into it, for your example, 2 different cars? How do you prepare mentally first?
You gotta be confident, and I struggle with that. I have never been able to take the stuff that I put away in the winter and make it good in the spring. Sure. So, I fight confidence in myself being able to, start out that good. Now, if you can go into it just, with confidence, you can make up for your race car, but you got to have that. For sure.
Yeah, I think for me, from a preparation standpoint, I would agree with that too. Like from a confidence standpoint, I'm always like, it's the first race of the year. We're just trying to knock off some things. Maybe we'll get lucky, whatever. But I think for me, the first thing is like, if I feel good at how the season ended, I'm super amped to how the season started. And I felt really good about how the season ended. Matter. And then I went to Bradenton and got my head kicked in. So like I really felt good. And I think that's for me, that's kind of how I've always been. From junior dragsters, you win a points championship that next year, you're like, come get some, you know what I mean? And I felt that way kind of all the way through big cars as well. But now, obviously working on my own stuff all the time and kind of like staying in that, I prepare a little differently of like, all right, here's the things I need to get done. Here's the things and then I feel good about it and I don't have to worry getting to the racetrack and like doing that. So that's kind of how I prepare. I'm interested to know if any of you folks, let us know what you guys' like number one preparedness thing that you do for the first race of the year. But second question of this is, what's your game plan going into the first race? Do you approach the game plan a little differently? Like I'm going to dial this, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to is there any type of game planning that's a little different for you first race of the year versus the rest of the year?
At some point in the year, the wheels fall off, and you just roll with it. But the game plan at the beginning of the year is it's the same as every other race. I don't really like. I'm trying until they tell me, until mathematically I can't do what I'm looking to do. Yeah, I pretty much have the same game plan all the time. So if I didn't feel like I had a chance to win at all, I would just not leave.
Yeah, sure. If
I leave with a chance to win, that's pretty much all that I care about.
Yeah, man, I think that's a good way to put it, because I don't know that I've ever went to the racetrack and didn't feel like I have been to the racetrack where I felt like I couldn't win, but I don't ever like think about going to the racetrack not thinking I could. You know what I mean? Like even when my car is the drizzling shits, I still think like, all right,
Yeah.
I might mess around and be okay up front.
Listen, if I can be 00, as long as I'm going under, I can win.
Right. So I think that's a good point. And Jason, that's a good one.
That's last ditch effort. Yeah. No, that does matter. 100%.
Yeah, 1,000%. My race day playlist stays strapped. Just trap music right into Fallout Boy. You know.
Mine definitely goes all over the damn place.
Yeah,
we're on run number 15 for the day here for John LeBooth.
Hey, John LeBooth's preparedness is he is to over prepare, and I think that's something. And I wish I took my work life to that stat in racing of like over prepared, right? Where I know every detail, where I know, you know what I mean? Like I don't have that same thing. For me, my game plan is normally, like I said, I think I'm so focused on being better than everybody up front. Like that's my main focus all the time. Is like I have to be better than them up front. Yeah. And it's kind of always
I catch you doing that.
Yeah,
like it's after you take off too.
Oh, 1,000%.
Like if you're 30, you assume you're behind.
That's a huge, 1,000%. When in reality, 30, I'm probably still in front of most of these guys.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like for the most part. And that's something I'm really trying to work on. I don't know, man. We'll see. That's kind of how I am with that, with the game plan. Anything else for the first race of the year that you think about that comes to mind? Like any, I don't know. Do you get a little more excited for the first race of the year? I always do.
Yeah, there's a part of me that does. Now though, I don't know how to put this, but like I have a month off.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a continuous, and it's everything that I do every day. It never
it's a little
feels
different. Yeah.
But even there is even like maybe not the first race of the year, like Orlando doesn't do it. But when I showed up to the Tentuck for the Mart, for one day, like that felt like the first race of the year, just because that's what I used to do. And so there's
every time I take my bracket car out, it feels like the first time. Unfortunately, I'm like, I hope this thing goes down a racetrack. I don't know. We'll see. I'm interested to get some people's takes this weekend at Indy and see what everybody's kind of preparedness is. I think a lot of people focus on over the winter of freshening up stuff, or they're trying something new, and maybe they've tested and they haven't raced yet, or whatever that may be. I know that there's a lot of approach to that. For me, it's always like I said, that first race is always like, another thing is I'm always like, oh man, if I don't win here, I'm out of the points chase. And then I immediately stop thinking about points. And I've never won one, so I can't say that I've ever been in it. But I'm saying like that's a mental thing that goes through my mind. I am the same way in video games. I play baseball, basketball, all those things. If I lose the first, I am immediately frustrated. And I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm not going to win the title. It's like, I don't think they go perfect. You know what I mean? But I have that same problem in racing. I think that's like a negative. Another negative that I kind of try to deal with. My hope is that this weekend, obviously it's not my first race of the year, but my hope that my preparedness, but also my approach to it is a little different, like we've talked about with like, I always feel like I'm behind. My goal is to focus on control the things I can control. If I'm 30 up front, I'm 30 up front. I still have to do something at the finish line. I have to understand that like I might be going under. I have to do a better job at the finish line. Especially in the super soccer.
And you can pick the race up earlier is all you like. You just and it's so hard to do because it just doesn't play out soon, right? But if you could get it played out earlier, it allows you to control it a little bit better. I was just this is my logbook today, by the way. Like this is how
he does a great job with the logbook too.
But we've been 8, 7, 4, 10, 2, 2, 8, 7, 6, 6, and 4.
My guy has made more laps at testing than I've made all year long, and I've been to 4 races.
And he hasn't been worse than 10 on the tree.
That's incredible. He hasn't been worse than 10. I thought you said 15. Well, that's holy shit. That's pretty good.
He's 8, 7, 4, 10, 2, 2, 8, 7, 6, 6, 4.
Yeah. That's another first race of the year. How do you approach racer? Do you base it off of, because you race very similar to, you're like, I'm going to do each run differently.
Yes.
Do you go by like what their, let's say you ran a LeBooth, right? You're like, hey, I know what he's going to do. He's not going to throw me. He's going to do the same thing he's been doing forever. Mm-hmm. You're going to approach it that same way. Whereas like if you race someone that you haven't raced before, maybe you haven't raced them that often, are you basing that there like what they did previously against you? Are you going to be like,
kinda,
hey,
like those guys, especially early in the year, I'm going to go off of what they've done to that point in the race. Yeah. More or less. If I run a Ricky Decker, like I know he's like over here, D'Lo.
Yeah.
Sprinter. like Ricky's is that person, right? Like he's going to do the same thing. He knows what he can go within 3 or 4 thou.
Yeah.
It ain't changing, and he knows what he should be on the tree. So, those are just going to play exactly how you would in October. If I run a guy that like, I don't know why this is the one that comes to mind, but Brad Z changed combinations a couple years ago. So it would be kind of the same way that I approached him, for when he first changed combinations.
He's in an FGT class now too, but just with a stick.
So it's traditional GT.
Oh, that's right.
But it's a 376. So it's
still
out of the new Camaro,
not the Copo. They call it a Camaro motor. Right.
So that's
interesting.
It's kind of like, you approach it a little bit different, but I'm still going off of their data from that weekend.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, let's take a few. I see some questions here in the chat. Walt Walker asked, will the D5 race in St. Louis be a one-off D3 race? So they're having 2 separate ones, right? Walt, they're having the first one, which is a double.
It's for D5.
And that's for D5. And then they're having the second one at the end of the year, which is the double for D3.
So I think the D5, I think that's basically what he's asking is that going to be like a 1-year thing?
Oh, we're going to see how it goes, I'm sure.
I think they want it to be a 1-year thing because they just don't have a racetrack to take it to.
Yeah, they don't have another D5 place to go, right?
Yeah, Flying H. I don't even know if they're NHRA. I don't know what the hell they are, but they're not set up for it yet.
They had one bad year and the internet ruined them.
I don't think it ruined them. For one, the guy that owns it has other interests like big boats and parties. Okay. Gotcha. I don't know.
Okay,
but I would. There's no reason to own a racetrack when you can do that.
Yeah, sure.
I ask my boss every day why he does.
Yeah, he does the best of both.
Yeah, but also I know I don't know if it's NHRA or not now or whatever, but I know that first race, it's the same thing I figured out when you kick off it, you change all the shit, you build a racetrack, and then you open the gates and you're like, oh, we are not ready for this.
We are not prepared mentally for that.
No, mentally, the facility's not ready, and he figured that out. I mean, they were paving roads during the event, so.
Yeah, tough. Midwest.
He does love the Midwest Pro Mod. He does.
Hey, good for them. Yeah, man, I think it's an interesting time. Obviously, we are working towards the beginning. Now, basically, there's only one division left to kick off. It will be D5 the following weekend. We'll go to Little Bucks at US 60 next weekend. D6 will kick off, I think, pretty soon. I know that they raced at Firebird this past weekend. Shout out to Plan B Racing. My guy got it done. Brandon got the win. I know also Davis Dimming got it done, and they're out there racing at Firebird. They said it was a cold one, but
and that is
Boise Firebird. Boise, Idaho.
Okay. There's 2 Firebird, or was 2 Firebird.
Yeah, there still is. There's Firebird at Phoenix and Firebird in Boise. But so yeah, man, I think all divisions are in full blast now.
Something you didn't mention. I'm writing, but you didn't talk about. There was one thing during the game plan that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
What? The lane choice thing? I don't care.
We did skip over that. Let's talk. Yeah. Lane choice. Stock and
Explain
super
that
stock.
To me.
Okay, so stock and super stock have now made the rule. NHRA has announced that higher qualifier gets lane choice first round.
And then after that, it goes back to
coin flip? Back to coin flip. Yeah.
So
and I saw that the Grossi family, who are, again, they're fast, right? They're super pumped about it. That's how it should be. I should be rewarded for going fast. I get it.
Yes, and I agree with that. I'm cool with that. But, first round, what do you get out of that for just first round?
Yeah.
Do it for the whole race.
Yeah, for me,
I'm never gonna get lane choice.
That's what I said. The first thing I commented, I was like,
the one round.
Yeah, I told Bobby Fazio that. I was like, well, I guess I'm never getting lane choice again. Sick. Which is weird for me. I don't quite understand that value because we're not trying to go. It's not a heads up race, so lane choice isn't pertinent unless you can't drive in one lane. So maybe if you're in the Copo or something and you can't see them. I've been there. I've been there. I can't drive in the right lane, so whatever. Yeah. That maybe I'm more mad about it. I don't really care as much. It is what it is, but I just thought it was super weird to do it first round as well. It's what are we going to do? So I'm interested to see how that goes this weekend because I may trick somebody. I may not even tell them. If they don't listen to the pod, they don't even know it's existing. I might still try to get lane choice. Who knows? There might be no cars and I might qualify fast. Who says? Who knows to say?
I guess the problem is and it's going to switch, right? If I qualify 18th
Yeah.
I'm gonna have lane choice first round. I might have it second round. I'm probably not gonna get it third
I think
round.
that's the cooler way to do it, because then it's like, oh, you might not have it, you might have it, and I think that's okay. Although the only thing is you're giving 1, 2, 3, and 4
always lane choice, but that's why they probably got to go a second under to do it, which
sure,
at
and
this
they maybe
point,
deserve it. Yeah,
dumb.
Sure.
So if they're gonna do it, give it to them. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
How many times are they really there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I will say the funniest lane choice story I've ever heard, and I don't know if it's myth or real or not. I know that there's some truth to it. Peter Biondo is racing Terry McGee at Columbus I think it's the National at this time. And Terry's in the lanes with Craig Dodge Material, the dad.
Marshall.
Yeah.
Bob Marshall.
Yeah, Bob Marshall. Sorry. So he's with Bob, right? And Terry McGee is a famed sportsman pro racer in Columbus. He wins all. He's one of those guys, but he's running stock. I'm pretty sure it's stock. So he's up there and he's waiting for Peter to come up. And I guess Bob is doing the lane choice thing because he's with Terry, and he says, "Hey man, we're gonna flip for lanes." And Peter's like, "No, I'm taking the left lane." And Bob's like, "Nah, we're gonna flip for it." Peter's like, "Nah, I'm taking the left lane." And Bob's like, "I don't think you understand." And Peter's like, "Okay, we'll flip for it." He takes a coin, chucks it into the cornfield, and says, "I'm taking the left lane." I don't know what happened after that, and it may be a little lore there, but I know that that's the funniest story anyone's ever told me about a lane choice thing, and I'm like, damn, I wish I could do that, or I wish that would happen at a TB race this year, maybe with the Rover Cam, and there's lane choice. I would love that.
This is actually perfect because you mentioned Bob Marshall, but the best one that I've ever heard of is also with Bob Marshall.
I love it already.
The year my dad won the division, was the same year that Norwalk sealed the staging lanes, asphalt sealed them or something. One lane was the right lane was drastically worse than the left.
Okay, sure.
So
this is the first year that they've even run an NHRA at this point too, right? Pretty early on. Okay, early. Okay.
So Dad he run it up at Indy.
Sure.
And Norwalk might have been the third race of the year at this point or something. He run it up the first two or run it up the first one.
Yeah.
And now he's down to 3 cars at Norwalk. It's the year after my grandpa died, so Joey's on the road with us, not racing, but with Dad.
Yeah.
Well, they do lane choice. So basically, anytime you win the coin flip, you just take the left because the right lane is iffy.
Just iffy. Yeah, it's not as good. Okay.
Less than iffy, probably not good. My dad's car blew the tires off, and I've spun the tires twice in 18 years of me driving it.
Sure.
So anyways, Dad wins the toss, says he'll take the left. Well, Bob gets in his car, whatever, sounds good,
and pulls out
and drives it to the ready line in the left lane. Well, my dad just instead of there's a little lane that a 67 Corvette will fit in.
Sure.
Instead of driving up in that bitch, Dad pulls behind him.
Oh no.
So they're sitting there. They tell him to go. Bob fires up, pulls into the water box in the left lane. My dad fires it up, drives in front of him in the left lane, shuts the car off. Bob is already out of the car because let me put it this way. There was multiple people standing there for the coin toss. Dad won the toss, took the left lane.
Sure.
Bob is saying, no, he didn't. And blah, blah, blah. Well, Joey, by this point, when Bob gets up to my dad's car, he's got his helmet in his hand. He's already got it off.
Oh, yeah.
And he's it's kind of beating off the side of the Corvette as he walks up to the door,
Oh, God.
And he meets Joey at the door.
Yeah.
This is 16 years ago. Joey's early 30s, 6'5", but he's ready to fight somebody.
Sure.
Okay. And Bob starts, this is bullshit, and he's poking Joey in the chest. And Dad said, your dad's still in the car. Dad hadn't even had time to get out of the car.
Yeah.
And finally, Bob's going on and on and on, poking him in the chest. And Joey said, if you don't get your finger out of my chest, I'm going to break it off and shove it up your ass. And Dad said, I'll go to the right lane. I don't care. He knew he was going to do it. So he's like, I'll just take the right lane. It's fine.
Oh, shit. Did he win?
No, blew the tires off of it. That was the lane thing. It was, if it wasn't that big a deal, Dad would have probably just
been like, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but he pulled in front of him and shut the car off in the water box.
That is incredible. What a story. Yeah. I'll have to ask Craig Marshall about that one, I'm sure. Craig's one of my favorite people, man. That whole family.
I love Craig.
I started running stock and super stock with those guys. So that's hilarious, man. Yeah, Bob's got some funny ones with the lane choice. He's pretty particular about his lanes, I suppose. Wild times. Well, we've made it another episode, man. I'm excited. What are you excited for this weekend? Anything?
Well, I've actually got it in my head that the rain looks pretty bad at Indy, for at least something, right? Like part of the weekend. Yeah. So if they cancel the qualifier, you are allowed to enter for first round and go to the bottom. So I think sometime between now and Saturday, I'm gonna load the ramp truck. I'm gonna load the ramp truck, and then basically if I get done here Saturday or whatever, and they cancel the qualifier, I might shoot up to Indy and run the points race.
Yeah, but you'll be able to.
I'm chasing the world, but I'm gonna show up first round.
I mean, if they cancel the qualifier, you're talking about they cancel Saturday morning's qualifier and just go straight into it?
No, so if they
if they cancel any of they're going to cut them on Friday.
Yeah.
I venture to guess it's going to be bad on Friday.
Well, and then early in the day Saturday is when the rain chances are high. So if they delay enough of the day, then they won't run first round Saturday night.
Yeah.
So in a perfect world, it rains Saturday morning, they cancel first round and run it Sunday morning, and I show up for that.
Sure. What you guys have a race at US 60? I thought there was a big junior race this weekend. Is that right?
So we posted the flyer this week for a big
that's right.
junior
Posted
race.
the flyer. Okay, got it.
So we've got our opening points night, which I think it's gonna be a banger. They have all kinds of cars.
I love it.
And then we do a Nostalgia Nights monthly series. It's got straight axle guys, straight axle mafia, and some nostalgia super stock guys.
Awesome.
The most fun group of people.
Yeah. The guys who love racing and they're not there to bitch. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, and they love to have a good party. So I'm looking forward to opening up the point season and kind of seeing some of our regulars. Yeah,
man, I'm excited to come. And then next week we'll be at Little Buck, so we'll talk a little bit about that next week as we kick it off at US 60. All right, guys, thank y'all for joining us here at the BE00TAKE00 show. Episode 12, we made it. Tyler's got to take his wife to dinner and be a nice husband. I'm
happy birthday to my wife.
Yeah, happy birthday to Megan, the one who keeps the show going. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Until next week, man, we're going to go little BE00TAKE00. I hope you guys have a good week in racing. Let us know that you're watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and join us next week for another live one. Hopefully we keep it all together. You know what I'm saying?
Try our best.